you'd have to step out of the classical physics of the Newtonian world, where we live in this realm of three-dimensional reality that we experience with our senses, and everything has height and depth and width, and we narrow our focus on the material world and we navigate in this way.
Hello guys, we all live in this 3D world, and it appears that things happen to us by accident. It seems like we don't even participate in life. It's like, what happens happens, and we just have to accept it. But is it really like that? Not according to Dr. Dispenza. According to Dispenza, we are creators, and whatever happens to us, it's because of us. It's because we invited that experience or thing in our life, with our mind, with our thoughts and feelings. Before I leave you with Dr. Dispenza, if you love his work and you don't want to miss my new videos, hit that subscribe button and the bell button next to it. Enjoy!
And this realm has an infinite amount of space. Space is eternal. And we experience time as we move through space. So we move from one point of awareness, I'm here, the door's over there, that's another point of awareness. And as I move my body from one point of consciousness to another point of consciousness, as I move through space, I experience time. So if we're going to create matter to matter, three-dimensional reality, and we're going to get things done, it's just going to take time for us to get the new house, the new car, because we've got to work and save our money and do all that stuff. Well, that's playing by the rules of Newtonian physics and three-dimensional reality. When you play by the rules of the quantum, in the quantum there's an infinite amount of time. Now, time is eternal. Now imagine if you had an infinite amount of time, how many things could you get done? Infinite number of things equal to your thoughts, right? And that's the quantum. So the quantum is, time is eternal, and there's all possibilities exist in the present moment in the quantum. So in three-dimensional reality, Newtonian physics, it's about the predictable. The quantum is immaterial. Nothing's local yet in space and time. All possibilities exist as frequency, as energy, as vibration, as information, as consciousness in the realm of thought. So in the quantum, anything is possible. And it's no different than looking in a dressing room where there's mirrors this way and mirrors this way, and you see an infinite number of yous. There's an infinite number of possible realities where one small thing is changed. Just one small thing. You shaved with your left hand today, and now you're in a different reality. You did your meditation, you connected, you come back. You just moved out of that dressing room, and now you're in a dressing room that looks just like that, but something's different. Your wife still looks the same, everybody looks the same, but all of a sudden, here's that phone call, here's that email, here's that opportunity. Now I'm in a whole new dimension, right? So in that quantum realm then, because it's non-local, we have to actually create not with our bodies. We have to dissociate from our bodies. We can't enter the quantum field as a somebody. We have to enter as a nobody. So teaching people how to pass through the eye of the needle is that moment they become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, no time. That's the moment they're pure consciousness. Now, teaching people how to create from the field instead of from matter has taken me many, many years. Yeah. But now people that are doing it are seeing those kind of instantaneous changes taking place, because when they begin to change their energy, and all potentials in the quantum field exist as electromagnetic potentials, and thoughts are the electrical charge and feelings are the magnetic charge, and how you think and how you feel is broadcasting information on a daily basis. So when a person changes their thoughts and feelings and they're creating from the field, when there's a vibrational match between their energy and that potential in the quantum field, and they're creating connected to the source, and that source energy is actually connecting everything material, they no longer have to go anywhere and get it. In fact, now, they're actually going to collapse time and space, or the experience is going to be drawn to them. Now they're the magnet. That's when they start drawing experiences to them. Now they're not going anywhere to get them. Now they're coming to them. That's when it gets fun. I think that when people say that they want a new job, or they want a new relationship, or they want to be healthy, they're actually waiting for their health to improve to feel gratitude. Right. They're waiting for their new relationship to feel joy and gratitude and thankfulness. They're waiting for the new career to happen. And once it happens, then they celebrate and feel gratitude. Well, if you believe that your thoughts and feelings produce an effect in your life, and you're living in the lack every single day waiting for it to happen. You're separate from the experience, right? So if you think about the emotional signature of gratitude, when you are receiving something that you like, that's pleasurable, you've just gotten or received something that is pleasurable, something just happened to you, or something's happening to you that you like, you say thank you, you feel gratitude. So the emotional signature of gratitude is that something has already happened. And it is the absolute perfect state of receiving. It is the absolute state of receivership. So here's an example. A person gets a diagnosis. The diagnosis is something like cancer. The first moment they hear that word, they feel fear. They feel a change in their internal state, and they pay attention to what the doctor says. They take a snapshot, and they create that memory. They remember the moment the doctor said that. So now they're in fear, they're scared, and they're going to think positively. Or they'll say, I'm going to beat this thing. Well, if they're feeling fear, they can only accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to their emotional state. That fear thoughts will be the only ones that will make it in there. Now, if a person changes fear to gratitude, as an example, and they really start training their heart, we can measure when a person feels gratitude, what happens to their heart. The heart gets regulated, it starts beating more coherently, it starts increasing energy to the brain, it starts creating an ambient field around the body. This is when your heart starts working for you. That when a person starts feeling gratitude, then the emotional signature in the body is that something's happening to them, or something's just happened to them. So if you're in a state of gratitude, you're in a state of receiving, then the thoughts that you think will make it to the body and program the autonomic nervous system into a different destiny. So just in 4 days, we found that when people, 10 minutes a day, for 4 days, traded anger, frustration, fear, all those limited emotions for gratitude, that their immune system improved by 50%. They made immunoglobulins that made their body stronger. Now that's, if a pharmaceutical company had a drug that could strengthen immunoglobulin A in your body, would be on every television commercial during the news, and yet your body, your nervous system's the greatest pharmacist there is. So then, your body is objective. It's your unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between a real life experience that creates an emotion and the emotion that you're creating by thought alone. So if your body is feeling gratitude, it's believing that something's happening to you. So in the beginning you go, well, I'm going to try gratitude, and then you think, well, this feels really weird. Why would I give gratitude until it happens? Well, because that's how you've been hypnotized. You've been programmed that way. But what if you change it around? The moment you feel gratitude, your healing begins. The moment you feel grateful for your life is going to change. Now you're causing an effect. So we have to embrace the emotion before it happens. Now, why? Well, let's just say you just did a great meditation and your heart is blown wide open and you feel grateful for life. Or you're connected to the emotions of your new career, your new job, your new life. If you're feeling the feeling that your new life has already happened, you wouldn't be looking for it any longer. You would be feeling like it's already happened, so you wouldn't look and be separate from it. You would feel connected to it. And then if you lost it and you started feeling angry because of traffic, I'd say, oh my God, you're back to the unconscious program again of allowing something outside of you to control your feelings and thoughts. You're back to that victimization program. So then when you start playing this game, and you catch yourself and you self-correct, and you get back into gratitude and feeling it, then your body is no longer preoccupied with when it's going to happen or where it's going to happen. If you feel it, it feels like it's already happened. So that's the moment you're no longer separate from it. That's the moment you start drawing or magnetizing experiences to you. We actually use HRV monitors. We put heart rate monitors on people. We study them for 24 hours. We want to know if they're actually doing it. And we have great results. People could actually sustain that state for over 45 minutes. It's just a skill. Now, why is that important? Because in their life, they should be able to do it with their eyes open. That's the game, right? Yeah. Practice with your eyes closed because you don't want to be distracted. Get good at it. Stand in line. Sit in traffic. Listen to your best friend complain. And just stay in gratitude. You're doing something really well. You're self-regulating. Yeah. So much of our attention's on our outer environment, and we want to put a little bit more attention on our inner environment. We want to create that coherence between the outer world and our inner world. That's when we start to master things. It's so much easier to lose our vision than to remember it, right? So then we have to begin to hardwire the brain or install the neurological hardware in preparation for an experience. So the more people understand what they're doing and why, then the how gets easier. So I want to then set up the conditions in an environment, in a workshop where people can begin to apply or personalize what they learn so that they can have an experience. An experience then further enriches the brain. But the prize of an experience is an emotion. And once you start feeling unlimited, once you start feeling abundant, once you start feeling worthy, now you're teaching your body chemically to understand what your mind has intellectually understood. So knowledge is for the mind and experience is for the body, and people begin to embody the truth of that philosophy. Now, if they can repeat it over and over again, it'll become innate in them. It'll become natural, second nature, it'll become easy. They'll begin to master that philosophy. So I want people to begin to understand that thoughts are very powerful. Feelings drive our thoughts, and that they can begin to create a better life for themselves once they understand some of these principles. Is it possible then that the way you think and the way you feel can begin to produce effects in your outer world? Now, that isn't something that you swallow in one bite. It's a process of gaining knowledge. It's a process of practice. It's a process of experience. But once you start seeing those synchronicities, those coincidences, those opportunities that start to fall into place because you're experiencing change in your outer world, if you're doing the work, you're going to start paying attention to what you're doing inside of you that's producing the effect outside of you. And once you correlate the changes of what you're doing inside of you with the effect you produce outside of you, you're going to pay attention to what you did and you're going to do it again. And all of a sudden, you're going to start believing more that you're the creator of your life and less of the victim of your life. So if your thoughts and feelings somehow have an effect on your outer world, and you're reacting to the same people at the same place at the same time in the same circumstances, then you're actually reaffirming the same reality because you're thinking equal to everything that you know. So that in order to change that, we have to begin to be greater than our environment. And a being is how we think and feel. So when people begin to practice this, they're not so quick to give their power away to the person or condition in their life, because the stronger the emotion you feel from some problem or condition in your life, the more altered you feel inside of you, the more you pay attention to the cause. Well, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So you're giving your life force, you're giving your energy away to that person or problem that you could be using to heal, that you could be using to create a new future. So then teaching people then how to self-regulate and find the present moment and settle their body down from those unconscious programs or those emotions that they're conditioned to. That's the work. And so then when you start lowering the volume to those emotions and you're doing the work and mastering yourself in some way, as you begin to change your emotional state, you're not going to be thinking about that person or problem, and you're going to begin to take your power back. And it literally begins to build person's own electromagnetic field. Now they have energy to heal. They have energy to create a new future. So I love that idea, because when people show up and they say, well, listen, I understand that I have a health condition. I understand that it's taken me 10 years of being unhappy, 10 years of living in stress, 10 years of living in fear that's actually begin to signal or select and instruct the gene that creates the disease. Well, it may take me some time then to unlearn that process, to break that conditioning process. So there's a practical understanding now. But something amazing has happened. I mean, we've spent over 10 years doing very advanced scientific studies. We've done over 8,500 brain scans. We've measured so many thousands of hearts, because if you're going to create a new future, it requires a clear intention and elevated emotion. Well, let's train our people how to create really, really high-level brain coherence and really, really, really self-regulating heart coherence. Why? Because if you're going to believe in that future that you're creating with all of your heart, it better be opened and activated, and you better know how to do that, and you better understand the science of what happens. We've measured gene regulation, 7,500 different gene regulations. We know you can change your gene expression in 4 days. We've measured it. You're not doomed by your genes. You're your own genetic engineer. That you can lengthen your life, and we've seen telomeres actually lengthen 60 days of meditation. That you add days to your life. You're changing your genetic future. That you can strengthen your immune system by thought alone. That's the evidence from the scientific perspective, and people love the evidence because they start to see that's possible. You're not going to find that in a pharmaceutical commercial. You're not going to find that out there in the world. You've got to really be hungry and look for it. So then that sets the stage for the person to come and want to have that experience. They may not be so quick to say, hey, I want to heal my body right away. They may say, I need to get my brain and heart coherent first. And I got to begin to put my effort into learning how to do this, like learning any skill. Then you have testimony, which is people with stage 4 cancers, people that are blind, that are seeing, people that are deaf, that are hearing, people with tumors on their thyroid, people with Parkinson's disease, with myasthenia gravis, with MS, with rare genetic disorders that medical science had no solution for, that struggled with all the conventional approaches and got absolutely nowhere, and then started doing this work, and now they're standing on the stage in front of 1,000 people and saying, yeah, I had stage 4 cancer. I did all the treatments, I did the chemotherapy, I've been getting worse, I stopped doing everything and I started doing this work, and it took me 6 weeks. I just came from my doctor, and there's no evidence of cancer. There's no, on the scans, on the blood tests, my doctors want to know what I'm doing. And the patient says, well, I'm down regulating genes for disease and I'm up regulating genes for health. Doctors are scratching their heads saying, what do you mean? So now you have evidence and testimony, and evidence is the loudest voice. So just like a disease spreads amongst the community, and alters, I think that health and wellness can be as infectious as disease. And so the person in the audience who's looking at the person with stage 4 cancer, and the person's telling their story, and it's not glamorous, and it's not a Hollywood version. This is real. They lost everything. They went bankrupt. They lost their friends. They lost certain things in their life, but they were persistent. And that person is the example of truth, and it's undeniable. Or the person who had a stroke and is blind. The doctor said your vision's going to get worse, and she has a transcendental moment and she can see again. Like, that doesn't happen a year later after you've had a stroke. And then, people having all of these transcendental changes that are going on. I think now that what's happening is I'm more surprised at this point than anybody, because I never thought how far this could go, right? So I'm super happy. I'm overjoyed with what's taking place, and I think we've kind of pierced that 4-minute mile. Like, once you break that veneer, right, in consciousness, then other people can do it. And I think there's strong footprints in consciousness in the quantum field. I think there's evidence in 3-dimensional reality, and it's an important time for us to wake up to our own personal abilities. If you think that your thoughts have something to do with your future, just from a theoretical standpoint, that your thoughts create your destiny, and you think 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before, well, then your life isn't going to change very much as long as you're thinking the same way. And those same thoughts lead to the same choices. The same choices lead to the same behaviors. The same behaviors create the exact same experiences, and we anticipate the same feelings or emotions from those experiences, and those emotions are the payoff that drive our very same thoughts. Well, our biology, our neurocircuitry, our neurochemistry, our hormones, and even our gene expression will be equal to how we think, how we act, and how we feel. And how we think, how we act, and how we feel is called our personality. And our personality creates our personal reality. That's it. So the present personality who's listening to this show has created the present personal reality called their life. So if you can latch on to this idea, if you want to create a new life, a new personal reality, you got to change your personality, which means you better start thinking about what you've been thinking about and changing it. You begin to become conscious of your unconscious actions or habits or behaviors and modify them. And then we have to begin to look at the emotions that we live by every single day that keep us connected to the past and decide, do these emotions belong in our future? So most people are trying to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. You literally have to become someone else.